I want to start from the very beginning of your survival journey. You did let us know you just came out of a breakup. How long ago was that breakup before going on to the show?
Yeah, it was a little more than a month before the show. So it was relatively fresh and relatively recent. Yeah, but I told myself like for Survivor, I just wanted to like lean in to whatever the experience had to offer me and like not like approach it with an open mind. And so yeah, day one, I arrive at this beach and me and Franny like we can't stop talking. It's literally like it's we can't. We're two dorky magnets. We can't separate. Like it was just like instant chemistry, instant communication. I and now that's a dangerous thing in this game. But I was also just like grasping for someone, and Franny was my someone.
Oh, okay. So, do you remember the moment when you're like getting to know Franny? Maybe at first it's like, first you're just trying to get a connection in your tribe to survive in this game. Then maybe you're making friends. But was there a moment where you're like, oh, this person might like not just be a friend, like I have a crush?
Right. You tell yourself like you can't feel those feelings, right? Like this is a game for $1 million. I gotta play as good as I can. But at a certain point, you like can't deny the chemistry as well. Like you can't just like suppress that and put it away. And one of the again, like when I said like I wanted to just like embrace how I was feeling and like let that take me wherever it was gonna take me. So
Can you pinpoint to the moment though that you're like,
yeah, there were a couple moments. For me, I think there were basically two that stand out. One was when we were building the shelter and like throwing the palm rod and the big long rods, like conversation. I was like,
your
yo, this
iconic
is
line?
yeah, that was one of those moments where I was like, wow, this is really something. Like this is cute. And then the other one for me was just like playing with Ernie the stick bug, who actually came back. Ernie made a return appearance the next day, and we were like, oh, that's amazing. So I was, even in those early days, I was like, wow, there's not just like alliance and partner in the game chemistry here, but there's might be like partner in life chemistry here as well.
Yeah. How much do you think that talking about you find an idol when everyone is doing a search party, how much do you think that fake idol kept you and Franny safe versus like the relationships you were making with the other people in your tribe?
Yeah, I definitely think it played a part. I I really like the way that all shook out was so sketch, like Danny being like, "Hey Josh, come over here," and then like Matt, what you got in your pocket? Like, oh, it's like, oh man, like this is not the way you want to find an idol in Survivor. Like this is terrible. But I do think it kind of kept me a little bit off of people's minds, as well as the lost vote. I think people were like, "Wow, Matt is like floundering anyway, like we can deal with him later kind of situation," which definitely worked to my benefit for that first vote especially. I was nervous for the first one, but it seemed like no one was talking about me and I wasn't going to start talking about me, so
Of course. Yeah, you lost your vote. You were forced to like pick rocks and everything. Everyone had to risk. How do you feel about that kind of risk? Because it's like one thing of like you could risk or just walk away from the journey and go back. But now in this game, it's like everyone has to do it, and you got the
yeah.
worst luck of the draw.
Oh man, yeah, I was really just the unluckiest little guy. I really wonder what my advantage would have been. Like they were all different. Like what could it have been? Maybe it'll surface in next season. But that's also the game. I think we all understand. I said this in the episode, like, Survivor, you like to believe that your fate is always in your own hands and there's always something you can do to change it. And I think that most of the time that's true, but there are some situations where you just like it's the luck of the draw. It's how the rocks came out of the bag. It's like how the, scrolls came out of the bag. There's nothing I can do about that. I wouldn't change it at all. I think going back for the second one was the right call. I yeah, I don't regret it in any way. It just didn't work out for me.
Yeah. I was wondering, since you were so open about where you were coming from going into the show, did your ex ever reach out to you about your appearance on Survivor?
No, we have not been in communication, which, that's fine with me. I feel
Oh.
like, yeah.
Did you ever get Ethiopian food afterwards with Franny?
We
Oh my
did. That was
God. Yeah.
destination number one. We were like, as soon as everything was over, and the very first time Franny came and visited me, we were like, Ethiopian food, like picking her up from the airport, literally straight to the Ethiopian restaurant. We loved it.
Nice. Did you do a road trip?
Road trip is on the cards. We haven't figured that out yet, but we're gonna make it work. I have absolute faith.
Love to hear that. Um, so do you feel like the show accurately depicted how much or how little time you and Franny were spending together? Because I think a lot of fans can agree you guys were super cute, but is it the best for your game to always be seen together?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think at the very first few days we were inseparable. Like it was plain as day. We definitely toned it down though, and they kept showing like I swear probably every moment where we were talking with each other they showed on the screen. Like because I mean the Matt and Franny storyline, it's like real cute. But we definitely toned it down. I think that people knew we were a duo, but didn't know how tight that duo was. Maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm delusional. but we made a conscious effort genuinely to not talk to each other as much. I barely talked to Franny at Merge.
Okay. Who were you spending more time with, and who was she spending more time with?
Yeah, so I mean, this was another one of the things. It's like we have two people now who can go and make relationships. I felt like I had laid a really strong foundation with Kane and with Carson, and to a slightly lesser extent, like Jam Jam. So I was trying to make those inroads, but obviously it like didn't really play out to my advantage to have made all these connections with people. They're like, oh, Matt's well connected, gotta get him out of here. Like, ooh, yikes. Yeah, but we made the conscious decision to go split. Franny was talking with Carolyn already as well. She was making some connections there. So honestly, I felt pretty well positioned in the game. In the wider tribe of 11, it just so happened that the way the rocks went, I was pretty much screwed. Yeah, no bitterness though. It's the game, and we all love it. So
Obviously, you were the first juror, which is obviously good for Franny. But at this point in the game, which other castaways were you like also a little impressed by or like interested
you
in?
know, it is very early to call a shot. I
You know,
was,
Danny was doing more than you thought, though.
yeah,
Does
that's
that
true.
work in his favor or not? I don't know.
Yeah, again, it's kind of one of those situations where you have to see how that's going to play out. Like Danny was playing a hard game, but maybe too hard. And like at some point, people are going to catch on to his antics. And like if that point late on in the game, if so, major props to Danny. Like he's taken it. If not, I think he plays himself into a hole. And like, uh, I did. I was impressed with Jam Jam on the beach as well. Like I think he had made some. He had worked things out with Brandon voting him on the last vote, and like he had kind of made some connections with Lauren and Jamie as well. So like I saw at that point, like Jam is playing a good game. I also thought like Carson, kind of by virtue of the way things fell out, but like he was super well connected with Ratu. He was super well connected with Tika. I wanted to work with him. I was like, who doesn't want to work with Carson? So yeah, those are the people I was like, hmm. And then obviously I'm rooting for Franny.
Obviously, a lot of good social people. Jam Jam did tell you, like he was like, Carolyn right now she's at a 1. She's usually at a 10. Did you ever get to see the Carolyn that we see on TV, or during that whole time she like was laying low?
um, I believe that that was like the 1 in 10 comment. I think that was true. But that said, Carolyn is Carolyn, and she is always Carolyn. Like you cannot tell Carolyn to not be Carolyn. And that's one of the things I love about her, right? Like, I mean, we all love about her is that she, like embodies herself so clearly and so much. So, I believe that, like I believe there are levels to it, but I had already kind of like picked up on the Carolyn energy. We had a great conversation, honestly. I felt good about my relationship with her as well.
Yeah. Well, as a fan, I am feeling a little hopeful that Franny and Carolyn are spending some time together. So, we see
Yeah, the Minnesota
you,
girls.
yeah. We see you and Franny side with caution when Carolyn says at the merge feast, like Josh's idol is made of beads from tree mail. And she was frustrated that she wasn't believed. But what percent would you say that you believe that idol was fake at that point in time and versus, well, it could be real?
Yeah, at that point, I was pretty sure my idol was fake, but I didn't know who had the real Soka idol. And I had narrowed it down basically to Josh or Danny because they were the ones who had like looked the most essentially. So and I wasn't doubting Carolyn, but I also think that you have to play for every scenario, right? Like you don't know, you can't know. And so and also like I will say there's a really big difference between being told that it just looks like beads and actually like seeing the beads, like I think we all have seen those and been like, that's a fake idol. Josh has nothing. But also another factor to this is Carolyn was like, he reused the paper, right, from the merge idol. Like it was so clearly like not another idol because he was reusing the same paper. But to me, that wasn't as suspicious because he would have had to leave the Soka paper, the real idol Soka paper, in the cage for me to find it. So it not like him not having the paper that says this is a real hidden immunity idol didn't raise red flags for me because he wouldn't have it because I have it. So like it wasn't that I didn't believe Carolyn. I think that like we just have to plan for every possibility. And Franny said it in the episode as well.
Yeah, makes sense. My last question is, what's the relationship status? And like, yeah, what was it like actually having to see how you went out? You kind of went out by your island wife's
I
hand.
know. I know. So first off, me and Franny going strong. We're feeling really great. Like things are as strong or stronger than they've ever been.
Is it an official couple though? Or are we
Oh,
dating?
we're dating. We're strongly in the dating. Yeah. So yeah. Rejoice, Manny Stannies, for it has happened. But yeah, and in the game, I'm very proud of her. I mean, these are my parting words, and it's really genuinely true. Like yes, it was a little bit by her hand, but I would never ever take that moment away from her, right? Of winning immunity, Jeff being like, Franny, like come on, we all dream of that. And so, like I don't blame her. I don't I'm like very, very proud of her. I think that that's a moment that she should be proud of for like the rest of her life. And
You'll be
even if
rooting for her in jury, and if she wins, you get a present. Like,
I know I called my shot. I was like, Franny, you're going all the way.